The Square Ball Podcast.
Welcome to the Square Ball Podcast. Another update from us, mainly previewing Norwich in this one. It's Dan here with Michael and Chris Mack in a show that is brought to you with Levi's Solicitors. It's going to be a good read today if you can surpass the one yesterday on propaganda. That was quite something.
It was. I mean, it feels like only hours ago.
Yeah.
Got the same T-shirt on, haven't we? Yes, we are recording this on the same day. But the message from Levi's Solicitors...
You've just ruined the magic completely in one fell swoop. Not that there was much magic, to be fair.
Well, you know, we're trying our best. We're not going to buy anyone, are we? Ahead of Norwich. That's what we're banking on here.
Well, Emi Buendia has tweeted out mentioning that I think something to do with Villa are in some Champions League competition or something like that, they call it.
Still going, is it?
He said something about a fancy Champions League night, whatever. Enjoy it.
All right. Well, if Buendia wants to come, he can move house, can't he?
Yep.
You move house, do you know what you need?
A van?
Yeah. Levi's don't do vans. They do conveyancing, though.
Mm-hmm. Which
is
you
useful.
need that before your van, really, don't you? Conveyancing.
Yeah, I'd get the van's one of the last things to sort, probably. Yeah. But wills, probate, conveyancing, do all those things.
Yeah. Which is your favourite bit of the conveyancing process? Is it the check for mine shafts in the area?
That's the stuff. And radon gas, is that what I think?
Yeah, I believe
you
so.
get?
Yeah.
That's one of the things you get, and you go, oh, I wasn't even worried about that before.
You don't want to be trying to do this yourself, do you? Just give it to a solicitor to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Preferably Levi's Solicitors, because it would help us. levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball, 10% off your legal fees. Full details and terms on the website. Norwich at home, then. What do you reckon?
Win. See you later.
Yeah, it's another must-win. There's so much that points at this being you've got to win when you look at other fixtures, the opportunity to capitalise on the top scorer in the Championship being out for being a nasty little spitty bastard.
There's quite a difference between him and their other top scorers. I think it's like 16-4, isn't it?
Yeah, Borja Sainz has got 15 in the league this year.
Quite good.
Yeah.
I remember we took a real dislike to him when we played Norwich. So in some ways, I'm glad he spat at someone because it just reinforces the fact you disliked him.
Just backs out prejudices, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Was it the Brill cream? Was that your issue with him? Hair?
I think partly.
Has he got dickhead's hair?
He's got dickhead's hair, he's got a dickhead's beard, and he just carries himself like a prick.
Right. How did you deduce that? The carries himself like a prick. What do you think he would start to formulate narrative around this? Some fanfic.
He's got Championship Ronaldo vibes about him.
Right.
In that way that he has a sort of entitlement about him. Yeah. When he shouts at referees and stuff, and like he can point at a teammate in a way that annoys me too.
Right.
So I think it's...
So if we were to go up this season,
mm-hmm.
I mean, they're probably not going to do unless they get into the playoffs. And he came to Leeds. Will we have to furiously backpedal, row this back to shore, or just accept that he's ours now?
We wouldn't sign him.
You don't think?
I don't think he's good enough.
It's 2025 Ben Rama, isn't it? We were in the same scenario 5 years ago.
Yeah, no, good shout. Good shout.
Where is Ben Rama now?
Still at West Ham?
Is he back in France?
Did he go on loan somewhere? We could have checked this before we started talking.
Could have done, yeah. And I think West Ham sold him.
I mean, idle speculation is just the best way to go with all this, isn't it?
He currently plays for Lyon.
There you go.
Right.
That's in France.
Correct. Well done. Graham Smith mentioned when we spoke on the West Stand at the start of the week that he saw Norwich at Sheffield United at the weekend and said they were terrible, especially without signs. They were trying to play out from the back. They were no good at it. So we should win.
They do have big injury problems as well, is the other thing. But going into that Sheffield United game, they only had 15 fit senior players, and 2 of them were goalkeepers.
I do like there's a note here that they no longer have Grant Hanley. I'm not sure whether that's a negative or a positive.
I just noticed it and I was like, oh, it's probably fair enough.
They're currently sat in 11th place in the league on 36 points, 5 points off the playoffs. Check the away form table. They're 13th in that with 13 points from 14 games. They've won at Coventry back end of August, Derby end of September, and then Luton on New Year's Day. In terms of records against better teams, they've drawn with Sheffield United at home earlier in the season, then lost away on Saturday. Lost at home to Burnley, lost away at Sunderland, so they've gained 1 point against the top 4 clubs in 4 fixtures so far.
It was quite a tough game last year. It was this time last year. It was maybe the week after. It was midweek. It was a 1-0. I think we played without the ball for about 15 minutes in the second half. It just felt I know we were soaking up pressure or whatever, but it felt unnecessarily stressful. I remember that.
Who was their manager? Was that still
it was Huddersfield man Wagner, wasn't it?
Wagner at that point, because they've replaced him with hipster. is it Johan Thrupp or whatever his name is, Johannes or whatever?
Yeah, there's two different Thorups,
Right.
and he's the one that's less successful, I think.
And,
Okay.
and Thorpe Arch, of course.
What, our training ground?
Training ground, yeah.
Right.
That's the other
Is
one.
that what he's named after?
Let's say yes, probably.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was the game the Norwich game last year was the one that on propaganda the whole boy had been to, and he was like he had the best time of his life, and we'd all come out and like gone, well, it was fine. It was fine. Well, it's just a midweek win. Some awkward moments, but
feels like things have changed a bit since then. In terms of they've lost signs. They're not particularly happy, I don't think, with the Rupp and the way that they're playing.
I mean, early in the season, after the 1-1 at their place, start of October, they were really, really pleased with how things were going from listening to the stuff on propaganda.
Prior to that game, sorry, Chris, I was just going to say they won 3 out of 4 before we went into that game, and then they beat Hull 4-0 just after.
Whatever propaganda clip was used, I do remember him saying the building blocks of something special. But
which is why I'm glad it's not turned out that way.
Yeah, they've actually proved to be really streaky in a really weird way. Because after we played them, they beat Hull, but then 3 draws, 3 defeats, another draw, then a couple of slightly wild wins at home, 6-1 against Plymouth, 4-2 against Luton, and then they lost 3 out of 4 after that, and then they won 3 out of 4 after that. So yeah, it's who knows what you're going to get, but it helps that Signs is out. I don't know about you, but it feels like in this division, each team has probably got 1, maybe 2, 3 at a push, good flair, creative players, and you take them out and they become a vastly different beast.
Yeah. They've got Kenny McLean, who I've always liked, quite a tidy midfielder, and Emiliano Marcondes seems to be their sort of attacking fulcrum, midfield fulcrum maybe at the minute. Remember him from Brentford as like a backup attacker, but Shane Duffy at the back should be all right there.
We should have enough. It's strange, isn't it, coming into every game thinking, well, we should win this. We should win this, particularly the home games because we've got such a good home record, but we really should.
Yeah.
On balance.
We should.
It is the first season, even the last promotion season, where we've gone into it being the best team in the division most weeks. Most of the time we've looked like the best team, and we should win almost every game. Obviously we don't, but it is very tough to get used to.
When you look at what's coming up in the next couple of weeks as well, this feels like a really important one to get 3 points, because in this round of fixtures, you've got Derby against Sunderland, you've got Swansea against Sheffield United, which both will have happened by the time this comes out. Those are the Tuesday games. Then we play Norwich, and then it's Plymouth versus Burnley. And obviously we then head to Burnley next Monday. And then it's Friday night, it's Sheffield United versus Hull. Sunderland have got Plymouth. You'd expect both of them to win on balance, given that they're facing crap teams at home. And we go to Burnley. If you come out of that and we're still top, I think you've got to be well happy, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the weekend after that, it's Derby versus Sheffield United and us versus Cardiff on the Saturday. Monday, you've got Borough against Sunderland, and then Burnley playing Tuesday against Oxford, which you'd expect them to win.
Yeah, our tough run of games is up to sort of February, isn't it, really? Once we kind of get that out of the way, we get a bit of an easier stretch.
Yeah, although every April,
yeah,
you know.
Although I think I'd prefer it to be this way round now, where you don't look down the fixtures and you go, God, that's really a really difficult block of games coming up. Like there are certain games looking ahead, like start of April, you've got Middlesbrough away, which will be a tough one. But then you've got Luton above that, and they're in a right old mess at the minute. But there's loads of games around them where you'd expect us to get something out. That whole like sort of last 10 or 12 games, there's a big long block there of games where you'd hope that we've got enough to see those opponents off. And yeah, the fairly difficult streak is now, isn't it? Burnley away, we've got Coventry away, which won't be easy, Watford away, Sunderland at home, Sheffield United away in a sequence, and then West Brom at home. Get that sorted now, and if you're still in the mix off the back of that, and even if we have a little wobble and there's a defeat in there, which is there's a possibility, obviously, it's important just not to lose your shit and then just to rebuild the momentum after that. I will lose my shit if we lose, of course.
Yeah, of course.
I think every game that we don't win, it can't just be. We're past the point now where this happens. It's the window is starting to slowly close, and every result becomes a little bit more meaningful,
especially without a gap.
Yeah, so you know,
just get it done.
We're Leeds fans. We're going to get a little bit impassioned if we don't win a game, but probably feel silly about it
from
2 days after.
From an injuries perspective, Solomon, a little bit of a hamstring tweak. Aronson likely to be okay after he took a bit of a kicking at the weekend?
Yeah. I don't know if I would risk him, although this is the sort of game you would like to see him playing. Him and Joseph up front. Just a bit of chaos, pressing. If they're going to play out from the back with sort of a makeshift team, you probably want those two in there causing some chaos, but you are allowed to rest them as well. I know we didn't look great, the three behind the striker against Harrogate, but you have to try these things at some point because you can't just play him 46 games.
And you're not talking about changing all three because that can have an effect if you destabilise the whole forward line. But if you change one,
I mean, resting Solomon seems the obvious one because if he's got a hamstring problem, he's had a lot of injury problems in the past. Ramazani would be the player I'd probably bring in, given his impact the other day. So it feels like quite an obvious and easy thing to do.
Particularly because you go to Burnley next.
I was going to say, and he doesn't feel like it's not like it's a massive downgrade either.
No,
we're not talking about playing Luke Varney instead of Manor Solomon. We've got other good players who can come in.
Yeah, would you, with that in mind, then, Chris, maybe go for Nonto?
Yeah, I think that Nonto has looked off the boil quite a bit, but he's been in and out and in and out. He needs a run of games. Like it was this time last year that he had that run of games where he was scoring and creating chances. Bristol, Swansea, that run of games. You can't get that if you're constantly being rotated in and out. But it's a double-edged sword, I suppose. If you play him and he doesn't play well, you're just back to square one anyway.
In terms of the centre forward question, I'd not really thought about it because I'd sort of settled him in my mind as I think Farke has on. He's got his first choice now. But with the volume of games we've got coming up, maybe a little bit of rotation might happen. I hadn't really considered it. But if you are going to, let's say you play Joseph in one game and Pirot in another, and it's us against Norwich and then us go to Burnley, which way around would you do it?
I think you want to go to Burnley probably with Pirot.
Right.
Because it's going to be a game of few chances, you would imagine. So you want, therefore, the man who's most likely to finish it.
Yeah, it's tough.
What I would go with.
It's tough because obviously Joseph does a better job occupying defenders, but it depends on what you want. And look, it's not what you would do. It's obviously what Farke would do. But after the game, whatever happens, if they start Joseph and they don't score, people say you should have started Pirot. But if Pirot starts and doesn't score, go, well, you should have started Joseph because he occupies the defenders better. So I have this weird feeling that Aronson will be rested tomorrow night and he might go Joseph and Pirot.
Interesting.
I could do, yeah. Yeah, Pirot is the 10. Pressing at pace.
Well, against Shane Duffy, he might be all right.
That's true enough.
Yeah, you do wonder as well. And the other thing to factor in here is transfer window. And I think it closes on the 3rd, doesn't it? It's slightly later this time. So you might be squeaking stuff in after Cardiff rather than before it. But if you've got the possibility of bringing in more bodies, warm bodies, by the end of the month, then do you factor that into your thinking as well if you're Farke?
Seems a lot to bank on.
Risky.
Yeah. Tire someone out and go, might have someone else next week. So you can just live with it. I do think I wonder if we'll see Firpo as well in the Norwich game. Either starting and being taken off or coming on for a decent stretch, just because Byram gets tired, doesn't he?
Made of porcelain.
He's weary old limbs. He does very well, actually. He's not been injured all that much for us, given his record. But I think maybe it's time for Firpo to come back in for a bit.
There's a lot of football to play between now and the end of March.
Yeah, because that Coventry game's been moved as well. That's another. I can't remember if I just said it out loud on one of the shows, but I did wonder if they'd maybe bring the Coventry game earlier than the FA Cup. It was one we were talking in the office about it, actually. I think it was Rob brought this up, and I'd said I wonder if they'll move it earlier because we're running out of midweeks. There's actually very few midweeks where you can move stuff between now and the end of the season.
Yeah.
Lots of games already in there.
We need to get out the FA Cup ASAP.
It would be the ideal solution, wouldn't it? But everyone will be furious if that happens now.
Yeah, just fully throw it in. Companies play a proper youth team. Try and lose. Probably not great though, is it for momentum? But yeah, so I'd go. I think Firpo will play a big role against Norwich. And because we need Byram. He's still our first choice right back cover as well, isn't he? Given Farke's hatred of Isaac Schmidt.
Well, that's the thing. Like Schmidt looked great against Harrogate, and Farke. I know Farke usually damns them with faint praise. in the media before not playing them for the rest of the season, but we're in the what I would call the Gruev territory, where last year he just had a run of games because people were getting injured. And I would like to see him not rotting away on the bench for the rest of the season.
There is an interesting question. Do you think he might rest one of Rothwell or Tanaka against Norwich? And would that be too many changes down the spine of the team?
I think a preordained change at 70 minutes for one or the other.
What on earth would give the impression that Barker might do such a thing, Chris?
It's a sensible thing to do as well, though, because if he does it in this game, maybe against Burnley if he can, then you've got the Cardiff game, and I'd say the FA Cup game, you go and right 90 minutes for Gruev that day if he stays fit with Gilavogi beside him.
Keep him for vibes.
He might be all right in midfield.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to be trying to get promoted with him at centre back.
I think he should man mark that big shithouse at Millwall.
Steve Morrison.
Jake Cooper.
Narrow it down a bit. Yeah, Jake Cooper. And I know Cooper is a centre half, am I right in thinking?
He is, yeah.
I think stick Giovogi on him anyway.
What, man mark him not on set pieces, just all game?
Just all game. Yeah, do it like Bielsa style.
Okay.
Just take the big bastard out of the game with Giovogi and then just let the other 10 figure it out between them.
All right.
But we'll talk about that when we get to that game, getting ahead now. But yeah, Coventry game, that has been moved to Wednesday, the 5th of February. And somebody put on the sheet here, it's put 1945, which is unfortunate because it's right underneath that little bit of transfer gossip about us being linked to a player called Goebbels.
Indeed.
Yeah. And we do a show called Propaganda. Bit unfortunate.
Oh, well.
But yeah, we are...
on to Frank Lampard.
We are facing Frank Lampard's Coventry City, on the Wednesday night. It's never been an easy place to go for us in recent years when they've been under Mark Robbins. You just hope that Lampard lacks something.
Concerned by the lights.
Right.
On his bald spot.
Reflection. Oh, that's unfortunate. So what are you looking forward to seeing?
Well, I mean, we've seen Barry Bannon. We've seen the best already this season. You're not going to get a better hair chat than Barry Bannon. Lee Art photographer sent me a picture of Barry Bannon.
What did it show?
Weird. He's actually got it cut very short at the back.
Can for the video version, can you send this to our video editor, Lee? And we'll get it on the video version so you can see it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's quite a thing.
It's a fascinating piece of engineering, whatever they've done to it. By which I mean it looks awful.
Yeah.
But
there you go. I'm showing this to Chris now. Yeah,
it's mad.
Just show me again, just to. Yeah.
I think he just must walk around rooms with his back to the wall, hoping that no one sees what's going on at the back of it.
Made sure there's no double mirrors in his house.
It's quite little though, isn't it? That's the problem as well. Like you can't. If he was 6'5" and he's above people, he might be thinking, everyone down there thinks it's fine. But he's
and it's got a Scotsman with a shaved head. It'd look hard.
Yeah.
Rather than now, it looks sad. But we've got onto hair chat again, haven't we? But,
we have, yeah.
I mentioned Goebbels there. We've been linked to, it's William Goebbels, I'm going to pronounce it. Saint-Gallen. St. Gallen. Is that Switzerland?
It is.
Yeah. So we've been eyeballing him. Where does he play? What does he do?
He is a striker. I think he came from one of the teams in France.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. Lyon. Lyon and Monaco. Yeah, fair enough.
So he's got a bit of pedigree.
Yeah.
Former Monaco striker. Good January signing.
Yep.
Might work. It can't work out any worse, can it?
Loan to buy.
Let's face
Obligation.
Yeah. But I mean, I can't be bothered going over transfers again. I still think we should sign some players.
Yeah.
Even if Farker disagrees.
The names are getting out there now. Kelechi and Acho, I saw mentioned as well. The Sevilla manager came out to say, no, he's not actually overweight because the media in Spain were suggesting that he was overweight and that's why he hasn't scored all season. Just avoid it. Just don't.
Fat shaming him. It's unfortunate, isn't it? Yeah, sign some players. See what happens.
Farker didn't really talk about transfers in his press, did he? He just said James DeBio's not going out. At least he sort of said at the moment, didn't he? Which almost did make me wonder if we are looking at further defensive reinforcements as well.
He did say that they were looking at loans for young players, didn't he? But he didn't specify who. I think that was a press conference prior to that.
Yeah, he was specifically asked about DeBio, I think, wasn't he? And he was like, at the moment, it wouldn't make sense.
He did say one or two, and two have gone out if you want to include Gelhardt in that. With the window closing on the 3rd of February, which is a Monday, you wonder if that's slowing things down even more with a game. Like, there is a game week between the end of January and the window closing. So I think a lot of clubs will want to wait until after that before making final decisions. So it could be quite a busy deadline day, but a prolonged wait until then.
Yeah, and I suppose from a very practical point of view, you're not exposing yourself to quite as much cost either, are you? If you're taking on expensive loans, like Emi Buendia, for example.
God, that's like levels of my sort of scrimping and saving. Is that
it will come into it? Like Chris says, if there are games in between, like Villa have got Champions League fixtures.
But you can play him in that,
right?
Rather than save money, he could just be playing against Cardiff
and win points
and scoring goals for us and stuff.
Yeah,
I'd go with that.
Yeah, okay. I'm prepared to give it a go. Are you in Canada?
Excuse me?
Are you in Canada?
No.
Are you planning to be in the next? Well, from today actually. You might not make today's, but you might make tomorrow's if you set off now.
No.
Jesse Marsch coaching workshops.
Oh, you'd mentioned this actually, yes.
Yeah, I said on Propaganda, an exciting Marsch update. You can go to Jesse Marsch's coaching workshops. It's a very narrow window of opportunity, which feels quite appropriate. You've got Halifax, Nova Scotia. That's it's yesterday. It's today as we're recording it. So you're not going to make that. Although there's a substantial time difference, so you might be all right.
If Jesse Marsch was doing this in Halifax, West Yorkshire, I wouldn't go.
Right.
So the chances of me wanting to go to Nova Scotia for it are pretty slim.
So if you get on Concorde straight after Leeds have played Norwich, you might just make the coaching course in Quebec on Wednesday.
Oh, right. Is you're doing that in French?
Oui.
German. Okay.
All of the above. Winnipeg as well, which is in MB. Don't know where that is. Saturday the 25th. And then you've got Saskatoon, which is Sunday the 26th. Calgary.
Is he just supplementing his income here?
On the 27th. And then Vancouver. BC is British Columbia, isn't it? That's the Wednesday the 29th.
Wow. Does it say what the content is?
Jesse Marsch coaching workshops. So I presume it'll be about football, maybe. He is holding he's been sort of photographed in action on the artwork, and he's holding a sheet that's got looks like a spreadsheet and a graph on it. So maybe some of that. Maybe just going to do a bit of spreadsheet stuff. Take you back to your ITV days.
All in. That was his thing, wasn't it? All in. Vertical passes. Minimal width.
He sounds a little bit desperate it says please join me with an exclamation mark, which it depends how you want to read into that, but I read that into the pleading of a man who feels quite lonely.
Right.
Just rattling around an empty auditorium trying to convince someone that it was not his fault.
Making all the attendees sitting just right in the middle. Coming from out wide, etc. Yes, that's fun, isn't it?
Well, not for people who are there, but
right.
Fine for us to talk about for a minute, I suppose.
6 p.m. on a Wednesday. What about people who have jobs? That's not very thoughtful of him, is it?
It's true.
I will be busy at that time. We'll be in here probably.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Hopefully he'll live stream it for us, eh? He could put it on his OnlyFans, something like that.
He did the Monday Night Football that time, didn't he? And showed how theoretically his system might work, but it didn't. Just it's easy drawing stuff on a screen, isn't it? Yeah. This is why this player's done this and this, but then having to try and convert that into a tactic that wins you some football games.
It was based on the Liverpool win.
Much more difficult.
Yeah.
Oh, that was that was something else again.
Was it?
That was something. That was the masterclass YouTube thing you did, wasn't it? That game where we actually just got quite lucky. Melier made loads of saves, and then we scored after Pat Bamford couldn't control the football. But still, if you want to claim that as a masterclass, up to you.
Let's do heroes and villains now then for the week, the highs and the lows of the last 7 days. What likes and dislikes have we had sent in by our TSB Plus members? What's happened over the last week?
Simon Waite writes in, he says, 55 years ago, David Webb scored Chelsea's winner in FA Cup final replay, and today David Webb, the referee, produced the worst refereeing performance in the last 55 years. Which it wasn't quite, but God, it was bad.
Yeah, he did score higher than I think the Blackburn referee, though.
Okay.
Blackburn might have been 1.27 average on the TSB Plus ratings.
Wow. And remember, 1 is the lowest score on this, so yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, some logistics complaints here from Yankee Doodle Batley, who disliked the Sunday starting at 3:30 a.m. Aspect of that. But you don't have to set off from Batley that early, do you? Surely there's a lunchtime kickoff. Are you hopping?
It might be walking it. That's
Right.
in fact, even if you're walking from Batley, it's not that far, is it?
Quicker than that, yeah.
But it was too early. We can all agree on that. It was shit.
I think it's throwing my week off course. I woke up this morning thinking it was like Thursday. It's only Tuesday.
Is it?
Yeah.
And because we're recording Wednesday's show on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm in completely the wrong headspace. And the usual order of shows this week has been whacked out, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Idiots. What else have we got then? Come on, have a little dig through what's been sent in. Bannon's hair, obviously. Dickie Woods mentioned that.
Got to get a mention. Will Pickard mentions Josh Windass for having tights on under his shorts. Absolute woke nonsense.
Yeah.
I enjoyed.
They might not have been tights. They might have been, if you saw them off, full suspenders they were.
Really?
Stockings and suspenders, yeah. We went for that instead.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I enjoyed Dicko, who says, we brought on Largy and Nanto while they bring on a bloke with a grey barnet who looks like he's playing football purely to get away from the wife and kids.
Speaking of get away from the wife and kids, Michael, something I really liked this week, your new follower on Twitter.
Of course.
We need to update people on that.
Lynn Gellhardt. It's happening.
What could possibly go wrong? So, why do you think Lynn has
She's not replied to any of the DMs yet.
Right.
I've sent her in about...
All those pictures you've been sending.
I'm sending her one every couple of hours and she's not replying to any.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a surprise to me. I'm not even going on Twitter very much anymore, but it went on notifications.
Did you get excited or did you get slightly nervous thinking, what have I said, what have I said, what have I said?
Yeah, mainly that. It's actually, I think...
We need to explain, for anybody who's not aware, explain why. Why are you saying that?
It's Joe Gellhardt's mum.
It's an ongoing joke, isn't it?
It's an ongoing joke, yeah, that Joe Gellhardt's mum's quite attractive.
Yeah.
And I think because people constantly tag me in her posts,
right.
I think she may have rumbled me and decided to follow me just to keep an eye, which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is fine. And
is she not just doing it on the advice of her solicitor?
Keep tabs on him.
Keep your enemies close.
Yeah.
Sort of vibe to it.
I can't imagine anything going wrong with that anyway.
Yeah, look, I'm staying out of the DMs. We can just be friends.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But if she says, come over towards Wigan, Liverpool, Merseyside area, meet you for coffee, let's talk this out.
I'd assume it was a trap.
Right.
To be honest. I'm just going to get my legs broken outside of Costa.
Like that scene in Goodfellas. You're Joe Pesci.
Yeah, it does have an internet sting feel about it to it, that. Yeah, for real. Right, do you want to pick a Ken Bates villain of the week then out of our nominations, or anything you want to put forward, really?
I think Webby is the obvious one, as we're going to call him, because there wasn't too much to dislike otherwise, was there?
No.
Oh, the divey winger for them, he annoyed me a bit.
41.
Yeah,
but he got clattered though, so it was worth it. There was a build up and a payoff there.
Gassama,
yeah, he was a bit annoying.
Yeah, it's hard to have. I thought their protest, the fans' protest, it didn't grip me.
Mm.
You know, you've seen some good ones over the years.
And they let us down on propaganda. They weren't angry enough or bitter enough about us beating them so easily and deservedly.
For a home game, don't do anything at Ellen Road that causes problems, but he made his money from tuna, didn't he?
Who?
Chansiri. I think that's his family money. So
Right.
throw tins of tuna.
Right.
It's the obvious way.
Are you opening them first, or are you just saying go for the whole hockey puck approach?
I think probably a mixture.
Right. You'd cause more damage with the unopened tin, but I feel like the logistics of getting a load of tin openers into, if it's not ring pull tuna, if you're having to take a can opener in with you.
Well, you just...
Because you won't want to preemptively open it before you get to the game because you're going to get tuna juice in your pockets then.
It's just an idea from anywhere.
Yeah.
I know people have done it in Germany with like tennis balls and stuff, but I think tins of tuna is quite a statement. It's expensive though. It's the only thing.
Right.
You're looking at £1 a can there,
right?
At least.
Whereas a piece of yellow A4 is not that expensive.
You could just go to the butcher's and get a pig's head and do it the old-fashioned way.
Again, difficult to sneak through the turnstiles, I feel.
Yeah, I remember reading in 442 as a kid, and it's stuck with me ever since. There was a a game in England where somebody put a claw-foot bath on the pitch in like the early 1950s.
All right.
How do you get that in?
I've no idea. Well, to be fair, isn't there the one in Italy where they threw the moped
Yes.
from the stands?
Yeah, someone's been paid off there to allow that to get through. A bath, though, with cast iron as well in the 50s. Weighty.
Yeah. Do you eat tuna?
Yes.
Do you eat tuna?
Yeah.
I don't eat it, so this is not one for me. But are you a spring water, sunflower oil, brine, or drained man? You're not a drained man because you won't pay the extra 20p.
Well, the oils. No, do you know, I've done times because you can eat straight out of the tin easier. And occasionally I live like a savage.
With your fingers. Shoveling it in your face.
Most people don't think
Lynn, if you want to...
Most people don't think it's a portable snack. It is.
Is everything okay?
Used to have it in the ITV days.
Because you've got a nice family, you've got a nice home. What has gone wrong?
But sometimes you just don't like... You can eat tuna in the lay-by, can't you?
There's your episode title, Tuna in a Lay-By.
Tuna in a lay-by. Lynn, do you want to come and eat some tuna with me? In a lay-by?
So what did we decide? Spring water, sunflower oil, or brine?
The oil's the nicest.
Right.
But it's, much higher calorie.
Right.
So it depends what you want.
Just tend to lift whatever one says John West on it.
Right. Okay.
First to see.
Expensive stuff.
Costco do one that's called Chicken of the Sea.
Really?
Which is a weird name, isn't it?
Is that what it's known as? The Chicken of the Sea?
That's what it says on the tin.
Right.
It's good tuna. It's like the premium stuff.
Mm.
If you're having a posh meal in a lay-by, that's what I'd get.
It's like pigeons. They call those the chickens of the town square, don't they? Do you ever eat
That's
that?
what they call them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The rats, they're the chickens of the drains. All sorts of chickens.
Right. Sorry, where were we?
I can't remember. I think just giving it to the ref, aren't we? The villain.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
It's fine. Easy option.
Right, it's time for the Gitano Baradi Hero of the Week with the tuktukclub.com. We've got a very specific sales message around this at the minute. It's Tuk Tuk Adventures in Northern Thailand with Bruce, who's a Leeds fan. Bruce keeps emailing me stuff through and I keep meaning to sit down and reply to him, but always forget. And I communicate with him back via delivering his messages on the podcast. Mm-hmm. But he says, due to a couple of last-minute postponements, we've now got 2 spaces available, because they're nearly sold out for 2025 already. 2 spaces available on the 11-day adventure on the 14th of May, which is self-drive and chauffeur-driven options, and the 21st of May, self-drive only for this year. What better way to celebrate promotion than heading over here to explore the mountains on 3 wheels? And we'd promise a free ice-cold beer to any Leeds fans on the 14th of May trip to help them celebrate us being back where we sort of belong, in our dreams anyway. Failing that, it's the perfect way to avoid the stress of the playoffs and a trip to Wembley that inevitably ends in heartbreak.
That's
the tuktukclub.com for information.
Provide a refreshing tin of Chancery tuna.
Hope so. TSB 15 for a 15% discount on your booking, by the way.
Humidity won't be good if you get all tuna down your front.
No. You'd be worried about it, would you?
Yeah, I think so.
And tuna attracting beasties in the jungle.
Potentially.
Who's your hero of the week?
Anyway, I need to, speaking of, we're still on Tuk Tuks.
Yep.
I need to give a shout out to Marcus, who sent us this magnificent beast. He is a professional model maker for films and TV stuff, and he's done a little one. It's got stripy Leeds coloured seats. It's got a kind of
you'll see it on the video version.
Papery roof. It's got a Tuk Tuk Club, the Tuk Tuk Club on the front of it. It's got a TSB number plate. Magnificent thing.
Wow.
So thank you for sending that in. Yeah. Well, dropping it off at the Lowfields Tunnel anyway.
Yep.
It's nice.
Did you drive it back here after that?
No, I just went...
like Dan James.
Yeah, exactly.
Great stuff. Hero of the week.
I am going to nominate Leeds under-18 winger Harvey Vincent, who got one of possibly my favourite red card ever in the FA Youth Cup. I don't know if you've seen the highlights. They're on YouTube. I would say look them up. But he got booked maybe just before half-time for just a little bit of a scuffle, pushing all that, and then minutes later, just completely unnecessarily 2-footed scissor tackle from behind.
Full Berardi.
After losing the ball, right down in the far corner, basically near the filed goal, and the referee pulls out the red card and he points at the man as if he'd won the ball. I have so much respect for it.
Did he make the ball gesture?
He did. He didn't actually. He didn't go that far, but he pointed at it, and he's like, "Oh, come on! Like I clearly got the ball. He was nowhere near the ball. It was amazing.
Good thuggery. That's what we like.
This might come as a surprise to you, but can I nominate Outanaka?
Fine.
Because he did the flick, which was a beautiful cherry on the icing on the cake. He also did a goal-saving interception earlier in the game at the same end, at the Kop end. And he's just an all-round wonderful human being.
I think he did get the highest score from TSB Plus members.
Just about.
It was pretty close. So
even though it wasn't his best game, he was still ace.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, no. Largy Ramazani got the highest score.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's been awarded points for style there.
What, for scoring in that? Is that showing off?
Back of the backflip.
Yeah, that was pretty good. The backflip did worry quite a few people, actually, in the comments.
Right.
And I kind of...
When you say a few people, do you mean you?
Well, I'm amongst them, certainly. I just see it happening and think, there's a lot can go wrong there.
Yeah.
You can easily turn I know pictures are pretty good these days, but you could just turn an ankle.
Do you remember that?
You land badly.
Do you remember that advert that was on TV for a bit, and it was about basically not being a stupid twat? And there's a picture of a Hindu walking down the street, and they've got a balloon.
And the balloon's up the scaffolding.
One of them lets go of it, and he gets caught on the top of the scaffolding, and some idiot who's walking past, a bloke decides to go scale the scaffolding. And obviously, he doesn't show him falling off because that'd be a bit graphic, but it's like a sort of a public information film. Like, basically, don't be daft.
Don't try to impress women when you're drunk. I believe that was the message of that public information
What's
film.
the most impressive thing you've done, Michael, when drunk to impress a woman?
Probably just get my tuner out.
Yeah.
Just take it out of the pocket. Oh, I've got this.
Excuse me, do you like canned fish?
Ring pull one.
What do you want? Brine?
Where are you going?
Brine, oil, spring water. What do you want? Give her the choice of 3.
Here's the chicken of the sea.
Actually, that might be the title.
Chicken of the sea.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see. Lynn Gelhart. I've got a lot of love for Lynn, showing her love for you.
Okay.
As well as a nomination.
Good. Stay in your lane, please.
Yep. Anything else? Chansiri?
Yeah, I mean, he's. I feel like he's one of the more fun bad owners.
He's just mad.
Yeah. Like Newcastle's owners, it's not really. There's not a lot of humour in it, is there?
Not really.
Whereas,
Not really.
you know, when he did that press conference with the new manager, what was the fella's name? The Watford bloke. And he just sat the Watford bloke. I can't remember his name. It might have been Javi Gracia for all I know.
Was it Valerian Ismail?
No, I can't remember the guy's name now. But he announced him basically in a press conference, and it was Chilino-esque, where it was just Chansiri talking, and the guy sat next to him being like,
"Hey, I pop out for a nice can of tuna."
Being basically like, I shouldn't have taken this job.
Was it Jukanovic?
No, we'll get there in the end.
Some bloke.
Munoz? Was it Munoz? Something like that?
Zisco?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That was it. The Thong Song Man. That was it.
Yeah. What are you going for?
So he's quite fun. I mean, Solomon scored. I enjoyed Rothwell's through ball a lot as well.
Yeah.
That was very good. And also probably their keeper. Another Dan nominates Beadle, in fact. Fair play to them in finding a keeper who looks more out of place than Meslier. Not through his performance. This isn't a football pod after all. Just his looks alone.
Yeah. He did look a bit out of place, didn't he?
Yeah.
Bit of fish out of water. Tuna out of water.
Tuna out of water.
In many ways.
A chicken out of off of land.
What are you going for?
Probably chicken.
Right. The sea variety or the land variety?
I'm happy for Tanaka to have it.
Yeah, fine.
Or Ramazani. Who would you go for?
I mean, I'm still going for the under 18s kids. For
of course, yeah.
The 2-footed tackle.
What's his name again?
Harvey Vincent.
Should be playing for Bournemouth really with that name.
2 names, yeah. Can't be trusted.
We've got any red cards this year, have we? First team. Firpo got a ban retrospectively.
No.
Was the only one we had last year, was that Meslier?
Yeah.
Preston.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example of someone getting a red card and not getting any value for it. It sounds like this lad has he's taken something with him.
He's extracted a lot there.
Whereas Meslier just like brushed that bloke's face, didn't he, for Preston?
Yeah.
Pointless.
Yeah. Yeah, with a sustained attack, he might have ruled him out of this year's fixture as well. really make it worthwhile.
Just what are you expecting? Just strangles him on the pitch.
Police just lead him off.
Yeah, it's possible.
Go on then. What we do? We give it to the angry boy.
Yeah, fine.
Give it to the angry kid.
Well
Why
done,
not?
angry boy. And the rest of you did great as well. So yeah, thanks for that. Here's the 3 points tonight against Norwich as this goes out. Yeah, let's enjoy that, and we'll be back with a match ball after Norwich. Look out for that in your feed on Thursday. And speaking to AD White as well before the week is out. We'll see you in a bit.
The Square Ball Podcast.